Hey YouTube, this is Resmius Park Fan 62. Now, with the breaking news video I just did, I'm going to get this out here. Now, please note this. I am having to redo this video just because of the breaking news, and now there are some of these when you hear me say the word question mark, this is the parks. So first off is Magic Mountain, and that is a question mark on that because I watched another video from Theme Park Portal, and they didn't mention some of these. So I'm not sure if this was like a last minute thing that got added or what. But from a financial standpoint with Magic Mountain, it's in a prime area because there are houses behind the park, and then you have the park itself, which was almost sold a long time ago as well. Plus, it's in California, and that is prime real estate. The next one is Knott's. Now, the thing with Knott's is like Magic Mountain, it's in a prime area. Unfortunately, it is landlocked, but they can make do with what they have. It's one of those like Magic Mountain that is open year round as well. And they have stuff throughout the year. The next one is Six Flags Great America. Now, the thing with Great America is that it's one of those parks in the chain where I should say pays for itself, but it gets such good crowds where, it makes money. The next one is Cedar Point. Now, the thing that hurts Cedar Point is two things. One, it is landlocked, so they have to make do with what they have in the park itself. Second, unfortunately, when they hire people, they had unless they get some out of like Cleveland and Columbus and all of that, unfortunately, they have to go international. But besides those two things, it is a park that does bring in decent crowds every year, and it does make money. Next one is Kings Island. Now, like Cedar Point, it is 4 hours, three and a half, 4 hours south of Cedar Point. And this is a park, while it does open a couple of weeks earlier than Cedar Point, but it also does bring in a good amount of crowds every year, especially with stuff like the summer months, Halloween Haunt, and Winterfest. Now, putting that aside, the other thing that helps Kings Island more than Cedar Point in this situation is the fact it is open an extra, I think it's like 4 weeks, 5 weeks in there because they close right after Halloween for a couple of weeks, and they reopen Thanksgiving for Winterfest, and that goes through New Year's. So that does help that. The next one is Fiesta, Texas. With Fiesta, it is such south in Texas where it can be open year round. It can get good crowds, and it's not like your typical Six Flags park. It is a park where, while they still do have DC and Looney Tunes theming, it is not like your traditional Six Flags park. It's more of like a Western style park. Next one is Carowinds. The thing that helps Carowinds out is the headquarters moved from Texas to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where Carowinds is, which I heard it's like almost right across the street from Carowinds itself. But also, it is a park that is growing. They're slowly putting money into the park and making it a better park. The next one is Canada's Wonderland. Now, the thing with Canada's Wonderland is that it is one of the most visited parks in the chain. And it is open through Christmas as well, which helps it. Now, there are certain things in there I'm not entirely sure about, but that's besides the point. Plus, Canada's Wonderland, at least under the Cedar Fair management, was one of those parks where they could rely on it. It would always get, like, if they wanted to test something out, they would always send it to Canada's Wonderland to see how it would do. Now, there is some that are on the brink of being a top park and then a maybe park. And that is, first one is Great Adventure. Now, the thing about Great Adventure is they're trying to make it of a more destination park than just, you go there, you ride the rides, and then you go to New England or south. And that's why they added the glamping aspect last year, and which is a step in the right direction. But they're still going to need a lot more things to get that to happen. The next one in that is Six Flags Mexico. Now, Six Flags Mexico is, at least U.S. based, the southernmost park you can go to in the chain. It is in Mexico City, which helps it a lot because it has, I think Mexico City has over things like 3 million people or something like that, which helps it. It's also open year round, which also helps it. But the thing that it lacks is more investment. So I am hoping they can keep adding to it and making it a park they can rely on. Then now to the maybe section. First one is King's Dominion. Now, unfortunately, under Cedar Fair, King's Dominion went from being a top park like a Kings Island, a Cedar Point, a Fiesta, Texas, to a park where it really wasn't relied on as much. And unfortunately, it shows because they just got their first coaster in several years this year after Timbili, which was sort of like a coaster that was meant to be a temporary type thing. The next one is Dorney Park. Dorney, the issue I have with Dorney right now is the fact that unfortunately it is sat between two other Six Flags parks. And it's one of those parks where it's smaller, but at the same time does have a decent coaster selection and just got one. But the problem is it's sat between two other major parks in the chain. So that is the one that is kind of the interesting one. So it's sat between King's Dominion and Six Flags Great Adventure. So that's one of the ones that makes it the interesting one. Just like Six Flags chose King's Dominion over Six Flags America to close. Which brings up another one, which I'll get to with California's Great America, which closes later this year. Next one is Six Flags New England. The thing Six Flags New England is a nice little park, but the thing that hurts it is the fact that it is landlocked. It is along the river, so the thing they have to deal with is flooding. And it is in a small town in New England. So next one is Great Escape. Now this is the next one that is the question mark because it's potentially going to get sold off to Enchanted Parks. So the thing about this one that makes it weird right now is it's just the resort that got sold off and not the park itself. So no one really knows what if the park is getting sold off as well as the resort or just the resort itself. The next one is Michigan's Adventures. Same with Great Escape. The only thing is that with Michigan's Adventure, it's essentially the whole park, which includes the theme and water park. So, um, that is the part that it hurts. The next one are Worlds of Fun. Now, the thing with about Worlds of Fun is that it's the water park that is getting sold off with this. So no one really knows. Does this mean if the theme park is getting sold off as well, or is just the water park? The next one is St. Louis. Again, like the others, it is possibly getting sold off, which is surprising. The next one is Over Texas. Now, Six Flags is making a step in the right direction with Over Texas because of the investments they're starting to put into the park. Like, I forgot the name of it, but it's their new 300-foot dive coaster. But it is going in the right direction. And the next one is Over Georgia. Now, Over Georgia has the potential to be a great park in the chain. However, the thing that it hurts is it's in a not so good area of Atlanta, as well as you have a lot of the standard shenanigans that happen. So, now the ones that could also potentially be gone in the chain as well is Frontier City. Now, Six Flags doesn't fully own this park whatsoever. So that's number one. Number two, it does not really get that good of a crowd compared to others in the chain. Six Flags has dumped it off before, and there's possibly they'll dump it off again. The next one is Darien Lake. Same as Frontier. Except with Darien, it's in the top part of New York, and it's one of those parks where they don't fully own it, and crowd wise I'm not entirely sure how it does, so keep that in mind. The next one is La Ronde, same as the others. La Ronde is the interesting one in the chain just because they also have a contract through the city of La Ronde as well through, I think it's like 2055 or something like that. How they're going to get out of that, I'm not entirely sure at this point. And Discovery Kingdom. Now, the thing about Discovery Kingdom is that park, they also have a height limit to deal with. So it's like 150 feet, I think. So the problem with that is even if they want to start adding taller attractions, they can't unless it's 150 feet or below. Now, I'm not sure if there's anything that makes it go south, like down into the ground, but in the air, it can't be more than 150 feet. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see how this goes, especially with the enchanted parks involved. So we have all of that. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Uh, do you think Great Escape and Michigan's Adventure and all of them are going to get sold off, or do you think they will stay with the Six Flags chain?